Hello and welcome to StratNews Global. You're on Books Corner and I'm Nitin Gokhale. Today we're going to discuss a book on Pakistan, the Balochistan Conundrum, authored by Tilak Devasher, who is of course a Pakistan specialist. He's written his third book on Pakistan, this time of course concentrating on a very restive and a strategically important region, Balochistan, within Pakistan. Now, why was this book, Mr. Deveshwar? First of all, welcome to this program. And, I've read two of your earlier books, and of course, this is the third one. Why is it important for you to write this book? Why was it important?
Several reasons. When I was researching for my first book, I came across two laments. One was the anguished cry of a father whose son had been picked up by the intelligence agencies, and he just didn't know what had happened to his son. He was running around, The second was the lament of a young girl about Balochistan and why nobody was paying attention to Balochistan. I had, of course, heard and read about the intermittently, human rights violations in Balochistan, but these two laments really moved me. I said, look, I must write and take the lid off what Pakistan was doing in Balochistan. There were two other reasons. You see, the Baloch, there are two languages.
Yes.
One is Balochi and the other is Bravi.
Right.
Bravi has striking similarities with Tamil. For example, there was a magazine among the Bravis in the 1960s called Elam. Elam, that is independence in...
Correct.
So I was very intrigued that, what is the connection?
Right.
And then Jinnah was a lawyer of the Khan of Kalat. And he had argued the case for Kalat's independence.
Right.
But after he became Governor General, he suddenly changed. And he was the one who forced Balochistan's accession to Pakistan in March 1940. So again, very intriguing what went wrong. And then finally, the Baloch broke out in insurgency in 1940, straight away after accession.
Correct.
And they've been continuing in one form or the other. This is the fifth generation, 70 years, fifth generation. And every generation has broken out. So again, to understand, why do they do that?
True.
So it's because of this that I sort of thought I must
No, in fact, indeed, your books are so insightful on Pakistan. There's, of course, a lot of literature available, but because of your sheer experience of Pakistan, we've been able to get a lot of insights into the society, the leadership. I think the earlier two books, Quoting the Abyss and, of course, Pakistan at the Helm, a very interesting anecdote-filled thing. But this one is more like a, if I can use that word, academically inclined and academically researched book. But one of the threads in this was also the sheer brutality with which Pakistan has tried to subjugate the people of Balochistan. Now, what is your sense as far as the relationship between the Pakistani state and the people, the Baloch people are concerned?
You see, it's very unfortunate that Balochistan is the largest province in Pakistan, 44% of the area, but just has about 6% of the population. So it has no resonance. There's nobody to argue for Balochistan in Islamabad.
Right.
It has, I think, about 16 or 17 MNAs out of 272 directly elected ones. Punjab is 141.
Right.
So any party winning in Punjab itself can form the government.
Correct.
It doesn't have to give, show any kind of consideration to Balochistan.
Correct.
So that's the reason why it has been totally neglected. And then what Pakistan, especially Punjab, has done is to exploit the resources of Balochistan, gas especially, and other minerals, for the sake of development in
other provinces.
Right. It has been estimated that by Baloch gas in Sui, Pakistan has saved about $3 billion a year for decades. Otherwise, they would have to import gas worth $3 billion. Now, if that money was invested for the development of Balochistan...
Or part of it at least.
Yeah. Balochistan would be as prosperous as Punjab.
Right.
But none of that was done. So Balochistan didn't get its gas, didn't get the royalty, when it got royalty, it was much reduced royalty.
Right.
So it has been discriminated against in every which way.
Correct. And then, as you said, 5 generations of insurgency. And each time there has been a brutal repression.
Yeah. So what Pakistan has done is that militarily they've suppressed the Baloch because it's a professional army. Those people are not, sort of fighters who have access to modern weaponry. But the political problem of making the Baloch stakeholders in the Pakistani state, That has never been tackled. So every generation has risen up, and now the situation is that as compared to 48 rebellion, the insurgency today is now pan-Balochistan.
Okay.
It's all over. And it's not only a few Sardars who are fighting,
Right.
but the middle class and all over Balochistan people are now fighting for their rights and their what they feel is they're going to become extinct.
Sure.
So now it's just spread all over.
Because it's a small population, but then interestingly, let me take you back a little bit to the beginning of Pakistan as a nation state. And you mentioned Jinnah was the lawyer for Khan of Kalat. Now Balochistan is made up of 2 or 3 different entities, right? There was the independent state of Kalat, and there were other smaller parts of Balochistan. So what was the status before Pakistan became a nation state reality? What was the relationship?
So there were 2 distinct parts in what is present-day Balochistan.
Right.
One was called British Balochistan, which included the Pashtun areas which had been ceded from Afghanistan after the Second Afghan War.
Yes.
To which were added the tribal areas of the Mari and the Bukti tribal areas,
Okay.
and a few other places.
Right.
And rest was Kalat. Kalat had these tributaries of Lasbela, Kharan and Makran. They were his tributaries.
Right.
So there were 2 basically the part. The British Balochistan, what the British kept directly under their control, because that was where the railway line went into Afghanistan. They needed to Kandahar to keep an eye on Afghanistan.
Yes.
Kalat they left very much to the Khan of Kalat, and then subsequently after Sandman came, started the Sandman system, it was given to the tribal Sardars.
Okay.
He used to pay them money directly. So the importance of Khan of Kalat became reduced, and the tribal Sardars and the whole Sardari Nizam became much more important.
Right.
So that was the basic status before 1947.
And then they wanted to be a separate entity, the Balochi people.
Yeah, Kalat was, because, and Jinnah agreed. I think it was 4th of August 1947. They signed an agreement with Mountbatten Mountbatten didn't sign, but that agreement, Liaquat Ali and Jinnah agreed to the independence of Kalat.
Oh.
And therefore, the Khan of Kalat declared himself independent on 12th of August, issued a proclamation, the flag was raised, he had a constitution, he had an embassy in Karachi.
I see.
And all this was done with Jinnah's consent.
Wow, yeah.
Then Pakistan also accepted a standstill agreement with Kalat. That
As is where is
like in case of Kashmir, as is where is, it will remain the same.
Correct.
So, Pakistan accepted the independence.
So that must be quite a letdown in a way for the generation of Balochis.
Absolutely, because, and the Khan himself had so organized a constitution that the decision about accession would be taken by the 2 houses of the Kalat assembly,
Right.
the lower house and the upper house. Both of them passed resolutions that we can have good relations with Pakistan, we cannot exceed. And the very famous quote of Ghausbaks Vizinjo, who was called the, a very important Baloch leader whose son died recently.
Yes.
Hasil Vizinjo.
Right.
He made a fantastic speech in the assembly where he says that, we are all Muslims. If we are Muslims, we have to become part of Pakistan.
Right.
And so should Afghanistan and Iran.
Correct.
If you have friendly relations with us, it is fine.
Yes.
But if you try and force us to exceed, then every Baloch son will rise and fight for his rights.
And that's exactly what is
That's
happening.
exactly what is happening.
I think it's Pakistan's Achilles heels, I think, in a way. But
It is because of the exploitative policies and the failure of the Pakistani state to accept minorities, to be part of the system.
they wanted to be unitary almost.
Totally centralized.
Yeah.
Though, and this is very surprising. Whereas in the run-up in the Pakistan movement, Jinnah had always talked about provincial autonomy.
Correct.
His differences with Nehru was precisely this.
Yes.
Nehru wanted a centralized state.
Right.
And Jinnah said, no, we must have provincial autonomy.
I think you mentioned this in the book.
Yeah.
Yes, you mentioned this in the book. But also, interestingly, you have a lot of statistical data on Balochistan's mineral, let's say, mineral strength or mineral whatever they have, wealth there. And also how they are not getting the kind of money or aid from the Pakistani state.
Yeah. So, in terms of minerals, there's a fantastic Baloch saying that a Baloch may be born without socks, but when he grows up, every step he takes is on gold.
Oh,
there's a Baloch. Because there is so much of mineral wealth over there.
Right.
But all of this has been taken out and used in the... You see, even gas. Sui didn't get gas, or the Bukti district itself didn't get gas for decades. Quetta didn't get for decades.
So it also used to be exported out.
All taken to Punjab and to Sindh and to KPK.
Right.
So as a result, if you permit me, I'll just read out some statistics of the shocking sort of, what has happened to Balochistan.
Right. It will be very interesting.
the socio-economic indicators.
Sure.
You see, of the 10 highest deprived districts in Pakistan, 9 are from Balochistan.
Oh.
Percentage of population living in a high degree of deprivation is 88% in Balochistan and 25% in Punjab.
That's all.
13 of the most underfed districts are from Balochistan. Rural poverty in Balochistan was 21% in 98, 99 and jumped to 57% in 2005, 2006. 80% of the children face severe malnutrition in Balochistan. Balochistan has the highest percentage of out-of-school children at 70%. The literacy rate in Pakistan is 58% and Balochistan is 41%. So, on every parameter, maternal health, child mortality, in every parameter, Balochistan is way, way behind for the rest of Pakistan, and not because of their own fault, but because of lack of investment in development.
And the total discriminatory policies adopted by the centralized, the federal
because
government.
As I said, nobody's fighting Balochistan's case in Islamabad. They only have 16 or 17 MNAs. Even in administration, there are people who come from the outside.
Right.
You won't find a single Baloch secretary or person who's taking decisions for the Baloch.
That's right. And in fact, you also quoted the Pakistani Human Rights Commission on what is the state of affairs. In fact, their own admission is that it's discriminatory policies that have been done.
And they're made to feel aliens.
Correct.
They're made to feel that they are, looked at suspiciously.
So, in a way, I think this study is extremely important for us, at least Indians, if not others, to understand how Balochistan
has been... A lot of people ask me questions.
Yes.
That, why is India not doing something? Favorite question.
Exactly. So I didn't ask that so far.
No. So, my reply is, first of all, tell me, what do you know about Balochistan?
Exactly. I think it's just to say that we are going to needle Pakistan via Balochistan doesn't help.
It doesn't, because you'll get to, those people... Understand them first. I said, do you know what the districts of Balochistan are?
Right.
What is the difference between Balochi and Bravi?
Yeah.
Who's a Bravi, who's a Balochi? Where are the areas? So, my idea was that, these people, at least educate the people in India, those who are interested in the subject.
Correct.
Then you can talk about what you want to, other aspects.
That's
but first, if you don't understand the subject.
Correct. No, in that context, it's an extremely important book because, we'll at least understand the basics of it.
Yeah.
But also, now I think Balochistan is important mainly because of CPEC ending up at Gwadar and going through Balochistan. Of course, they've realigned some of the routes, I think. So, in that context, how does Pakistan then protect the CPEC assets? Or how would China help them in doing that? What's your sense on that?
You see, because of gas, Balochistan's importance went up because bulk of the gas for a long time came from Balochistan. Later on, Sindh was a little bit, some in Punjab. It worked to Balochistan's detriment.
Sure.
CPEC and Gwadar are also working to Balochistan's detriment because the Chinese want protection of their investments.
Sure.
So the crackdown by the Pakistan army on the Baloch is far more severe today. They're not stakeholders in these projects. They haven't been asked, what is it that you want? The fishermen in Gwadar have all been shunted out. They've lost their prime fishing base. So the Baloch feel totally discriminated.
Correct.
So the importance has gone up because of these projects, but the Baloch are not benefiting from it. And therefore, the animosity and the resentment against these projects and against the Chinese is growing exponentially.
I can see that. But there is also this romantic idea in many of the, I would say, half-informed or ill-informed Indians that one day Balochistan will break away like East Pakistan from Pakistan. In that context, given the strong Pakistani crackdown and also its interest in protecting Balochistan or preserving Balochistan within the territory of Pakistan, do you think that is possible ever?
You see, it's a very difficult situation for the Baloch. In the case of East Pakistan, which became Bangladesh, there was a critical mass of population.
Right.
The population of East Pakistan far more than even West Pakistan.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, and the seats were also higher, I think.
So there was a critical mass.
Right.
The Baloch have only, as I mentioned, 6% of which,
of the population.
About 40% are Pashtuns.
Right.
So the Baloch population itself, they have no mass. Khuzdar is there, few other cities are there.
Right.
They don't have a particular thing.
Correct.
Secondly, they are fighting a professional army with new modern weapons. Baloch army, the Baloch can't out-fight the Pakistan army. They don't have unified leadership. And everybody is sort of...
There's several factions.
They don't have a common minimum program.
Right.
Despite this, the resentment and the desire to fight is very strong. So it has a momentum of its own.
Right.
So the Pakistan army will outfight them.
Correct.
But will they?
At a heavy cost.
At a very heavy cost.
Yeah.
Ultimately Pakistan will have to
That's right. Do some kind of adjustment with the Balochis. So, last question to you on, you've written this book. It's given us extremely good insight into what that problem is. But would China sort of tell or advise Pakistan to, adjust or do a compromise with the Balochi aspirations? Would you think that?
China far better than me. Do the Chinese will ever compromise with the local population?
No.
Look what they're doing to the Uyghurs.
That's true. Exactly.
So they would have told Pakistan that unless you get your act together and set these guys right, otherwise we'll come and set them right.
Yeah.
That's Chinese attitude.
There's
no way the Chinese will advocate compromising with the Baloch, giving them a stake in CPEC or in Gwadar port. See, look at Gwadar, 91% of the operating profits are going to go to China, 9% to the Islamabad.
Correct.
What does Balochistan get?
Nothing. Yeah.
So,
it's a lose-lose situation for Balochistan.
Yeah.
Really.
So they've all decided that, we are going to die anyway. So you might as well die protecting your homeland and your culture and your language and everything.
Traditions and everything. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be finished anyway.
I must thank you for this book because it's very insightful. Although it came out some time ago, it's just taken some time to get you here and talk about it. Thank you very much for your time and the insights. And that's all we have this time. But do keep watching us. Also like us on our social media platforms. And of course, keep sending feedback and comments. Until the next time, it's goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.